Hello gamers! Today I want to talk about games research. As some of you might know, I have an indie studio. I'm also an art director over at another indie studio. I teach, I'm the pathway lead for games and creative technology at the foundation level over at UCA, but also I'm a researcher. My main research area is aesthetics, specifically around games, so that's usually to do with avatars, identity, and immersion. Those are like my favourite topics to delve into. One of the coolest things about being a researcher in games is that there's just so much to explore because it's, well, practically a brand new field of study. Compared to, say, some of the much longer and more studied fields like English or classics or history or even the sciences, games is relatively new. And to me, games sort of meets in the middle, all of these very interesting things. It brings together psychology, sociology, technology, all of the ologies. And that's just so cool to me. I will preface this by saying I'm a massive nerd, and so these things might be cool to me and might not be to you. I'm super interested in the way that we play games, and I actually think my research helps me with my game development because I'm looking at things that I would never have thought to look at, and then I get to implement them in my own games. I would also say that being a game developer has helped my research, so on the flip side, I think that by having that sort of insider knowledge of how to make games and what players and users do has actually really helped to inform my area of research. Currently, I'm undertaking a Masters of Science in the School of Engineering and Computing at Kent, and that is a Master of Science by research. So that means I've written a thesis. It's going to end up being roughly about 40,000 words long, which is about 160 pages, because in the School of Engineering, you're expected to have graphs and data and have run an experiment. In my opinion, it's like a mini PhD. So because it's a year long, you're not expected to contribute like a huge amount of data, but you should have run an experiment and analyzed that data enough that you end up with like a load of cool graphs at the end. This has been a really cool experience because I've not done anything like this before, and to be completely honest, I had complete like imposter syndrome when I even signed up to do an MSc because my undergrad was in game art and it was a BA. While the whole experience has been kind of stressful because writing a lot of words in a very short amount of time, it's a full-time master's, and I also have a full-time job and a part-time job and a load of other stuff that I do. That bit has been kind of stressful, but to be honest, it's been one of the best things I have decided to do for myself. And I think that that's mostly down to the fact that as a woman in the industry, and I hate saying that phrase, but as a woman in the industry, I've always sort of doubted any decision that I've made. I feel like this is a me thing, not an external thing, but I feel like I didn't feel like I was good enough to run my own studio. I didn't feel like I was good enough to offer opinions on things. But backing it up through research and running my studio has really helped me sort of combat that imposter syndrome. If you're like me and you're the type of person who wants to find out why in like any situation and break things down and figure out sort of the nitty-gritty of them, then research might be for you. It's a lot of looking at what everybody else is saying and deciding whether you agree or disagree, backing that up with fact, running experiments to see if your hypothesis is correct, and then analyzing that really juicy data at the end to figure out if what you originally thought actually happened. I'm not sure if this is going to be helpful to anyone else, but I found research really beneficial to me. It really helped me figure some stuff out about myself. I am hoping to go on to PhD eventually. Maybe not straight away. I might need a little bit of a break and to get back to like making games, because it definitely does take time to complete your research and other things sort of go on the back burner. But it has been one of the best things I've ever done, and I highly recommend, if you're interested in games and research, to have a look around. It doesn't necessarily have to be via research like I've done. I did that because I knew I wanted to go into a PhD eventually. You could be looking at an MA where you make a project. I know a few people who've done MAs and have actually made games as part of their master's process. I have done all of mine by writing, so all of mine has been done as a like project, as a thesis, around my data collection and experiment. But if that's not for you, there are other ways to sort of contribute to the research and the wider games industry. Have a look into it. If you have any questions about researching and games, I'm so happy to help because I would love to see more work done in this area. Please let me know. I'm happy to answer questions.